Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at JASMY. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so in the previous video, what we are talking about is we have our bullish count where what we are arguing is that we could have a low in place here. And what we are looking for is either a three-wave move where this becomes A, B, and C, in which case we get a push up towards this 1272 level. Or alternatively, if we are looking for a bigger impulse, looking for this 02545 as a potential third wave target off of our current low. Now, invalidation of this bullish count comes by crossing this 271, and that would then invalidate this idea and would mean that we are still looking for the potential of our bearish count here. Now, within our bearish count, what we could still see here is that we could still be looking for the potential of a Z wave to the downside, where we would be looking for potentially this 0.618 to be our minimum requirement here of this 091. Now, if we are looking at this idea, what we'd be saying is that we're looking for a three-wave move to the downside looking to unfold here, which could then become our A wave. We would then be looking for a three-wave move back up and then that continuation to the downside in that idea of that move in that way. Now, if we are looking at this as a W, X, Y, X, and a Z, like I said, we're looking for this potential. We're going to start to see this bigger three-wave structure developing to the downside. So we need to be careful of that idea. There is also the potential here that we could look at this as a five-wave move if we want to look at this rather as a diagonal pattern here, in which case what we could be looking for is a five-wave structure looking to develop to the downside. Now, it is possible that this fourth could be over here as well, and we could have it in this location over here. So we need to just be mindful of those two ideas. What we'd then be looking for would be potential to see price push down towards this 130 level if this is the case. Okay, so we're going to go over our bullish subwave counting, and then we're going to go over that idea of the bearish count. Now, we're going to come in here and we're going to focus in on this little bit down here. Now, if we are looking at this structure over here, what we could argue is that within this, we are looking for that possibility that this could be 1, 2 here. And we're looking for this third wave. Now, our third wave is only going to get confirmed by pushing up towards a 708. Until we actually see a push up into this level, we need to be careful. Now, it is possible that this move here could actually be completed already. Now, there's two ways we could argue this. We could say that this is a three-wave move down and we've completed into this low. And then potentially we have this as 1, 2 and another 1, 2 here, in which case we'll be looking for some extension. Now, it is also possible that we could argue that this is A, B, and C to the downside. Now, if this is the case, what we'd expect is to hold this low of this 0.370. If we lose this low, then it confirms that this move is not completed. And what we could start to see is a bigger breakdown from this location. So if we do see this develop as A, B, and C to the downside, but we still manage to hold this level of this 0.317, this could still align with a bigger corrective move, instead looking at this as W, X, and Y. So going to be keeping an eye on this. Even if we do break this low here, if we just get a three-wave move to the downside that fails to push down past this 317 level, it is possible we could look to find support lower down here at this 0.346. And if I turn on the 854 as well here, somewhere between this 346 and this 337 would be our last sort of zone of defense here if we're looking at this idea of a bullish continuation to the upside. Now, if we are looking at this idea where this is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 here, then potentially what we would be looking for is something along these lines. Now, the problem that I have with this count is to count this as a wave 1, you would have to say that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 as a diagonal. Now, diagonals are less reliable because we could also just argue that this is a corrective move up here in 3 waves, and then we could start to break down in 5-wave structure. If, however, we maintain this low of this 367 and this support box here, particularly this lower level of the 378, what we could see is if we just get 3 waves down here, we could then look for a reversal to the upside. Now, the key thing within this is that we need to keep an eye on this, because this could just be A, B, and C, and we just get a push up towards this 4490, which would actually be coming back up into these highs. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that level. But if we do see price looking to reverse in a bigger way and we actually start to push up towards this 0.0491, this could align then with the idea that this move is becoming a 5-wave structure. Now, if we do get this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to the upside here, what we need to be careful of is that this could just be A, B, and C, and then we could still look to continue to the downside after that point. That's going to be the key thing here. If we are looking for that idea of that bigger impulse, either this is going to be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to look for that bigger push to the upside, or alternatively this becomes 1, 2, And then what we'd be looking for would be the possibility of finding support again above this 367 level. Now if we do see a move up in this way, we also need to just be aware there is always possibility of extension. We could see something like this is 1 2, we get another 1 2 1 2, and then it starts to break up in that way where we get a direct extension. Alternatively, this would make a lot of sense to see something like this as another 1 2 if we're looking for that possibility of that bigger break to the upside. Now like I said here, we need to be careful within the bearish scenario here where we could be looking for continuation down. We have actually pushed up into 50% already at this 499. Now if we do see price do this A, B, and we still see 1 2 3 4 5, unless we actually manage to push back above this high over here, which is sitting at this 798, we're going to need to be careful of the fact that this could still just be corrective where this becomes A, B, and C. And even if we do look to push up higher here, we could still look for the C wave to the downside afterwards. So this is going to be key within this idea here. If we fail to achieve that nice strong impulsive structure and look to push up towards that higher zone here where we hit the 708 and then get an additional fourth and a fifth, we could still just see this play out as three waves up here and then look to break to the downside directly from that point. So I'm going to be watching that on that possibility of that move up. Now we were also talking about the potential here that we could start to form a 5-wave move where we said this could be 1 2, this could be 1 2. Now I already said I don't like this as much because of the fact that if this is a wave 2, it has taken substantially longer than the previous wave 2 to form, but I'm going to be still monitoring this until we actually cross this 511. Now if we do look at the structure in this way, what we could then say is that if this is a wave 2, we could start to develop 1 2 3 4 5 to the downside. If this starts to push past this 226 level, this would then align with the idea that this could actually be a third wave here where this becomes 1 2 3 4, and then we'd be looking for an additional fifth wave. Really from that point there, if we push down past this 2226, the only invalidation point would be this wave 1. If we fail to push back above that, we could still see this continuation in these additional fourths and fifths to the downside. So the key thing is here, if we look to push up past this 511, we can look to invalidate this blue wave count. But until we actually push back above this high of this 798, we need to be careful of this idea that this could still be a corrective structure here. Even if we do see price do something like this, A, B, and C, but we fail to push back above this, this could still just be that bigger A, B, C pattern looking to play out to the downside. Now, it is also possible, like if we're going to break down here, what we could see is that this whole move here could be our wave 1, because like I said, you know, we're looking at this as potentially 1 2 3 4 and 5. If we do see something like this, and this is just a corrective structure up here, what we could then see is the possibility of a break to the downside in this white wave 3. Now this white wave 3 will only be invalidated by moving up above these highs over here at this 495. If we see something like this, A, B, and C, and we still fail to break back above this high, we still need to be careful of this 1.618. So that measurement is taken from this high down into this low to wherever this wave 2 would end. So that's going to be what we're looking out for here. If we do see something like this develop to the downside, when we get a move down like this towards this 1618 level, we'd be looking out for that potential of this additional fourth and a fifth wave in this way. And then if this pushes down deep enough, this could then potentially look to hit this 226 level, and that would then give us a confirmation. If however we just see this move develop in this way where we just have this as 3 waves down, 1 2 3 4 and 5, and we fail to actually hit this 226 level, we need to be careful that this isn't just a bigger A, B, and a C pattern, in which case we could still look for that reversal to the upside from that point. But it would be more likely that, you know, if we start to get this 5-wave structure to the downside like this, that we are possibly looking for that idea of coming down here in this bigger ABC pattern, looking to push towards this 219 level. But like I said here, you know, really what I want to see for more confirmation that this is a completed corrective move to the downside would be pushing down towards this 0.618. If we do start to form something like this as a bigger ABC pattern, we need to be careful here, because this could also just be A, B, and then we look for C as a corrective structure. So what this would do is it would sweep the liquidity underneath this low, would come down here, it would have a reversal, sweep the liquidity that's built up above this high here, and then look for that continuation to the downside afterwards. So we need to be very careful of that idea here, that if we do see this move pushed down in 3 waves, and we don't hit this 0.618 here, then this could actually indicate that the structure is not yet completed, and we could still have some downside to come at a later point. Coming in here and having a look at this B wave, it is also possible that this B wave can get more complex here. Now, given the time of this A wave and of this B wave, I wouldn't like to say that this is going to take place, but what we could still see here is that if we start to develop something a bit more complex here, we could develop a bigger corrective structure. Now, within this would then actually mean that we were still within the B wave, and what we'd be saying here is that if we do see this move play out to the downside, where we get 3 waves to the upside like this, we get an A, a B, and a C, and we actually look to push down towards this 317 to this 267 level, which would be a most common area for an overshooting B wave. What we could then see is this potential of a 5 wave move to the upside for a C wave, and all of this would still fit within this idea of being in this yellow B wave. So there's a lot of different ways of looking at this currently. We need to see where the price can continue to hold these key bullish levels. If we do lose this level here of this 317, what I want to see is how we break down. If we just break down in 3 waves here, we could then potentially look to reverse to the upside in 5 waves. If we develop in 3 waves to the upside, this could also then just mean that this whole move here is W. We get this as an X, and we're still going to see a move to the downside from that point. Ideally, what I want to see here from our current location is that if we are looking at this as potentially having a low in place here and we're looking to rally, we need to hold this 317, and we really need to start seeing this idea of this bigger push to the upside looking to take place, where we start to follow the yellow count here, and then we need to actually hit that higher degree wave 3 here towards this 1618 of the 708 for more confidence to actually be had within this move. Having a look at the daily pivots here, what we can see is that we have actually lost our central lines. These were very tightly spread, indicating that we could see volatility. Now, when they are like this, when we see price reject off of them, often we can see quite a volatile move away from them. Now, we have actually found support here on our S2 line. If we continue to hold this, we could potentially look for a reversal. If, however, we start to lose this level, other targets for today would be this 383 and this 377. Sometimes when we get impulsive structure forming, however, we can actually look to push through these zones, so we just need to be aware of that. If we do see some kind of a reversal here to the upside, I will be keeping an eye on that possibility of coming back into these central lines. If we start to break through these central lines, targets to the upside here will be this 411, we have this 419, 425, and this 432 as potential upside targets. Now, moving over here and having a look at the weekly pivots, what we can see is that we've actually printed slightly higher CPR lines here. Now, if we are looking at this structure, what I want to see is if we want to continue to trend, I want to see price break back above these central lines here, which is this 399 to this 397 level. If we see price looking to get back above this level, we could potentially then see price get pushed towards this 426. We have this 454 and this 482 as potential upside targets for this week. Now, however, if we start to reject to the downside and these start to turn into resistance, or we just don't retest them and look to move away, other targets to the downside for this week become this 370, 341, and this level here of this 314. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on those levels if we do see price moving into those ranges. Now, having a look at the monthly CPR lines, what we can see here is that we do have these CPR lines above us now. We have lost this level. If we see price move back to the upside, we could potentially look to find resistance here at this 402, 415, and this 429. So if we are looking at this idea where this could just be a bigger A, B, and a C pattern to the upside, where we could look to then break down after this point, going to be keeping an eye on this higher line here of this 428. If we do see price starting to break down here, what we could see this month as potential targets would be this 336. We have this 281 and this lower level here of this 202 as potential downside targets. If we actually manage to push back above these central lines and we look to find support, we could then look to potentially push towards this 469. We have this 548 and this 602 as potential upside targets for this month. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and in the description you will find a link to Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We will see you in the next one. Take care.